all of this is busted, and that'll probably get me demonetized and whatever. Is this gonna work? Like, seriously, is this gonna work? I don't know. Can I do this right here? Is anyone going to even care? I have not been live in more than a year at this point, a year and a half. It's been a lot. It's been a whole lot. So I do not know. I don't have an answer, but I thought let me just try it out and see what happens and see where it goes. Things to just kind of generally do whatever with whatever. What's going on, Riley? It's I don't know, man. Look, I legitimately have no expectations for anything at this point in my life, so it's gonna get weird, and I'm kind of okay with that at this point. What's going on, Eduardo? Thoughts on Cody Rhodes being champion? I mean, we all know the money's in the chase, right? And we had the chase, and the chase after 2 years concluded, and he won the title, and he's massively over. So, however you feel about his title reign since Mania thus far, he's still like super over, and it is so hard in the modern day environments to build a baby face. So actually having one that the audience, like never mind the internet, like the audience in the arenas cares about, it's very difficult. So whether or not you think that his title run is doing okay so far, it's kind of the internet is kind of at this point not super relevant in terms of how that is going, because the fans in the arenas that are paying to see him love him. So he's not getting booed, so he's doing all right so far. Now, as far as having a more compelling challenger, as far as having a more like, oh my god, he could lose type challenger, that's a thing you got to build towards. But I don't know, man. What's going on, Zachariah? As far as Reigns goes, I think he's filming something. Movie, TV show, something. He's filming something. So as far as when he gets back, will he be the people are chanting, "We want Roman." So will he get a huge face pop as they continue to have more and more members of the bloodline and whatnot? That they keep on bringing in. They keep on bringing in more Polynesian wrestlers. So they've apparently signed Jacob Fatu, and they just brought in Tangaloa, aka Camacho. And yeah, so that to me says they're building towards War Games. And you're going to have like Team Roman, and you're going to have Solo and Tamatanga and Tangaloa and a fourth individual to be determined. Would it be Jimmy when he's back from injury? Would it not? It remains to be seen. Who knows? No, this is the same house. There's a lot less stuff here. My stuff's not here. It's been very bare bones since August of last year. It's been a lot going on. So, who's the monster heel with Roman Reigns gone? I would say Gunta. Like, I would say your next King of the Ring would be Gunta. But, we'll see. This week's Pixels will be Sandland. We gotta film that on Thursday, most likely. So, but yeah, that's the plan for this week, is to film some Sandland. So, what is an old school game that I want to play with Graham that I can't find a copy of? I have access to just about everything, so the only thing that really is usually holding me back on filming is just getting it, prepped and ready. And like, I don't know, in terms of what we haven't already played in 12 years, it's tricky as far as what's... we by this point we played like how many old wrestling games? We played a lot of them. So there aren't that many more left, really, that are, major ones. Like, there'll be minor things here and there, but in terms of, like, major, big, old school wrestling games, we've kind of played the vast majority of them at this point. So it is tricky to figure out what else. Isn't that boxing? I don't think we've done a lot of boxing on the channel. We played the new Battletoads, which is not very good. We played it on a bonus pixel, I want to say. Is that only on Patreon? No, that was on the main channel, I'm pretty sure. Maybe it was a main episode. It's all a blur, man. We filmed a lot in like 12 years. We filmed a lot. As far as when Alexa Bliss makes her return, I would say she just had a kid like 6 months ago, so give it a little bit longer than that. Like, to get back into ring shape, it takes a bit. So I would give some more time on that. I would say they're definitely gearing up towards this Wyatt 6 thing, and I would say that they're going to they're doing their ARG stuff. They're doing their QR code stuff and this and that. And so obviously not in the first phase, right? If we're going to have Bo and Loomis and Joe Gacy and Rowan and I'm blanking on, but so I would say not phase 1, but phase 2 of that. If it lasts that long, if we can get to a phase 2, then I would say the return of Alexa, like, end of the year, if nothing else. There is no video currently on the docket for tomorrow. I'm just on a little bit of a break. I'm just burned out at this point, so I don't have anything currently on the docket. I'm gonna hop on here live for a little bit and just kind of talk on some things, I guess. But I'm just tired, man. It's just, I'm worn out. It's been a rough bit of time here. So I just try to get things done best I can. And I certainly have some more videos that I have planned to film with the boys. That's just a matter of scheduling. I know Rod needs to defend his title against us in 2K24. That video needs to happen. We also need to do a thing with like No Mercy at some point with the original N64 type stuff with those guys. And I had a few more things kind of in the works, in the planning. But again, that always takes time to get everyone in the same room at the same time to film a thing. It's being an adult is challenging. I'll say that much. Who dethrones Cody is a very good question, and it's not going to be for a bit. Like, I wouldn't see him losing until at least the end of the year, but like, I don't know. Do they want another long title reign? Like, is he going to hold it for at least a year? That, I don't think so, but it wouldn't surprise me. It would not surprise me. Have we done any GoldenEye games on Pixels? No, we have not. I've tried. They put it out on Xbox Live Arcade as part of the Rare replay, and I tried going back to it and playing it, and it just does not really hold up. It's just, at the time, I played the hell out of it. And maybe it's just not playing it on an N64 controller. It just makes it feel weird. But they had done that. There was a canceled GoldenEye remaster that didn't come out officially, but leaked out through the partner program, and everything I've heard is that that's amazing. But yeah, it's playing the one on Rare Replay is just not. It's just not, man. It's just not. It's hard to go back to at this point. It really is. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Cody got cashed in on. Like, that wouldn't surprise me with the next whoever ends up being the next Mr. Money in the Bank. I kind of wish that King of the Ring was how it used to be. where winning that kingship granted you a match at SummerSlam. That's how it used to work. Now it's just, oh, you got a crown. Oh, yay! Like who cares? It's one of those deals. So that would actually make it mean something, but now it's just, oh, it's a Saudi show, whatever. Thoughts on Backlash? Hot crowd. Like, you could not have asked for a hotter crowd, best crowd since Puerto Rico. Like, just absurd, just loud all night, which is what you want from a wrestling crowd, to be invested in the things happening that are in the ring. What happened to GM mode with Grimm? The views went just off a cliff, man. Like, the views just went off a cliff, and at that point, like, you gotta understand that trying to get Grimm to maintain his attention over the course of 25 weeks is just not feasible. He just gets bored with things so fast. So we got it in like 5 weeks. We got another 20. It's just not, like, again, if the views had stayed like where I would have liked them to stay, that's different. But just episode 1 is always, hey man, all right, we're doing this. We're gonna do the whole thing, gangbusters. Episode 2, a little bit, but still okay. And you get to episode 5, it's like nobody cares. It's like, well, at that point, it's like, we're having fun doing it, but like to do it for half a year, it's just a lot. Now, when it used to be 15 weeks, right? When that was the original GMO, we actually did finish that, and it took us 9 months to finish that because we didn't do it every week. Because, again, there are other things to film. Like, it's all right. It's not just pixels. Like, there are other things that, if we're gonna film 2 things, having half a year be taken out by 1 thing is a lot. It's just a lot of time. So again, it's one of those things where you make a choice where, all right, if the views maintain at a certain level, at a certain, okay, then at that point it's worth doing. But if the general public attention just falls off, then it's, I don't know, man. Like, it's Kevin, happy freaking birthday, man. As far as me doing the women's My Rise, I would say yes, but not this week. So it's certainly a thing I want to get to, but I just kind of need to breathe for a second here and reassess and figure out how to actually do it in a way that might actually get some attention. And at this point, it's all timing, right? It's all like, when a game comes out, like 2K, everyone wants everything immediately, but there are only so many hours in a day, right? Because, like, all right, it's day 1. They want Showcase. They want My Rise. They want the other My Rise. They want My GM. It's like, I can't do 4 videos a day. That's just absurd. Like, I only have so much voice in this throat to even try to do any of that. And again, when you look at what I used to do back in 2017, I was doing a shitload of videos every day. My voice was just destroyed. So it's just a matter of, you get older and just the energy is not what it used to be. It's rough. There is a 0.000% chance that Sandman will have Enter Sandman as his theme in 2K. They're not going to pay Metallica what they want to get paid for that in the game. It's just, do not assume that will ever happen, because the rights fees there are absurd. Absurd. It's just, if that happened, it would be, I just don't see them paying that amount of money. It's just, at that point, you're doing like dumb Tony Khan shit, where it's like, all right, here, have the money for like a thing, and it's just not smart business. Like, I would question their business tactics at that point if they're paying that kind of money for a game thing. It's one thing for Mania. All right, you're doing it at Mania, you're doing it live, you're doing it once. Great. But to do it for a game that's just for a DLC character, like for Sandman. Come on now. Yeah, that's just it. It would be wild. I would be very, very, very surprised. And then every single person who tries to do a video on that is going to get flagged on YouTube for the copyright, because that's just how YouTube works, man. It's one of those deals. I have not seen people comparing 24 and 20. It's, I mean, look, it's not that bad. We haven't got to that level of broken. I mean, there are still things that are not great, but we're not quite that level of, you know, just absolute trash fire. That was 20. But I mean, there's things that need to be fixed, obviously. That's like, they can seriously tweak how many times the AI does the shoot to the ropes, leapfrog, drop down, like every fucking match. Every match. Like, chill. Just chill. So yeah, the AI needs work, and yes, I was actually just looking at some stuff on the servers this morning, for a video thing. And I'm like, why are the community creation servers still so dog shit? Like, I'm just trying to go through pages and I would just sit there in infinite load. I'm just like, how do you get anything done? Like, how do you get anything done with their servers just can't even handle a simple request of, all right, find this character? It just seems absurd. But that's 2K. The same 2K who tied the single player in Topspin to the online servers. And so when the servers go down, you can't play single player in Topspin. What? Never tie single player to an online service. That's just, it's never good. It's never good. Yeah, now they need to fix up Universe, and they don't care. They're going to put all their time and effort into my faction. Like, that's where the money is, and that's what they're going to keep on doing. And I just don't give a shit about my faction. Just not a thing I care about. But that's where they're going to put all the effort in, because that's going to, all right, if they can get enough whales to put in real money into their system, then they can make a bunch of extra money on top of what they've already made from charging you 70 or 100 or 120. And I'm just not with that. That's just not how I play video games. It's not how I was raised on games, where I used to buy games and there was the whole game. And now that seems like a very much like a unicorn, right? So it's like, we'll get a game like we'll get a game every couple of years, like Poltergeist 3, right? Or we'll get a game like Zelda, right? Well, that's kind of separate, because that's Nintendo doing their thing. But once in a while, we'll get a game where it's, all right, here's a single player complete thing we're going to sell you with no DLC and no extra battle pass, whatever. And that seems like such a rare thing now. Whereas every other game is going to do all the layers and layers of Skinner box, monetization, loot box garbage. And that's not what I was raised on. Now, granted, there's a whole universe of indie games that don't do that. So that, obviously, you go on Steam and there's a plethora of things to play that don't have that shit in it. But I don't know, man. It's rough. Because you're going to have a whole, just at this point, multiple generations of people that are going to grow up thinking that this is how games are done. This is normal. And I'm like, but it shouldn't be. Right? I feel bad about that. Like, it's like, I feel like, people my age now are the ones who are making the games. And we all grew up on these things that it was not this. But the people who are making these decisions are not people who give a shit about games. So all the shareholders and bean counters and middle managers that don't actually give a shit about that, make more money, make the line go up, and I'm like, nah, that's just not fun. Like, you want to just sell me a game, it's a whole game, and it's fun, and I'll give you money. It's not a very hard equation in my eyes, but the fuck do I know? I am currently not subscribed to PS Plus. I let it lapse back in January, and I have not resubbed, and I kind of, at this point, don't miss it. I don't play a lot online. Like, I'm not a big online guy, so like it's nice to have for the cloud storage, and it's nice to have for the free games each month that I might or might not play, but like I'm not just big on actually playing it and going online and playing things like Helldivers or playing, you know, whatever that needs you to be online to play it. Because what happened was they changed how, like, it used to be they sold you a card. You can go to the store and get a card for PS Plus. And because they sold physical cards and they sold them in different regions, you could go online and find it for cheaper, right? I had PS Plus for a long time when it was $60. I was paying like $40. I didn't pay full price for it. But now that it's $80 a year and you can only get it from Sony, it's like, I'm okay. Like, that's just absurd. To increase the price and not increase the value, like, I'm good. But that's every single subscription I have at this point has gone up in the past, like, 2 years. Just Adobe and Spotify and GameFly and Game Pass, and the list goes on. Just all goes up. I played my fair share of 2K20 on this channel. There's plenty of those videos. We did, you know, we played a lot of that game. Well, more than we should have, because it's not good, but we did our fair share of that. And I'm not going back to it. It's just not. It's in a box here somewhere, but you could certainly do it a punk showcase, I think, but you got to question, all right, who would be in the showcase matches? Like, who could you do that's still there in the company? I think that's always the thing. It's like, well, you could have done this and that, but it's like, well, who were his major feuds that are still with the company? Obviously, there's John Cena, and Ray is still there when he had the whole thing with the SES. But it's like, all right, well, do you do the stuff with Alberto Del Rio? I don't think you do. Like, that was when he was doing the stuff in 2011. Yes, you could do. Like, there's just guys where you could think about. Oh right, you can't do that. Like, you couldn't do well. At this point, we don't know with Jeff Hardy, but like as of right now, you couldn't do the stuff with Jeff Hardy. Like, is he going to leave like Matt did? Maybe, but I'm not sure what the current status of their contracts are with AEW at this point. But yeah, that's always the problem. It's just, all right, who's not there anymore that can't do the showcase? Like, who's just not in the company or is just not going to make the deal for whatever reason. So that's always an issue. Like, yeah, you could do, well, if you did a Bray Wyatt, would the estate of Brody Lee agree to that, is a question. So it's interesting. The only Fallout we played on the show is Fallout 4. Because 3 and New Vegas came out before we did the show. So the only one that came out while we were doing the show was 4. And yeah, we did the on that. We didn't do the online one. And I don't know, like the way to play that game is on the PC and heavily modded to fix a lot of the issues. So there is a way to do that on the Steam Deck. It's just a matter of actually sitting down for multiple hours to do that, which I don't know. It's always all right. Is the time needed worth the response that's going to get? And the answer a lot of times is like, not really. But to do it on my PC is a different story. Well, a lot faster, obviously. But then my PC is very heavy, which is why I bought this Steam Deck in the first place. Because, all right, a lot easier to have that over there and film over there with that. So, the issue with AEW right now is just I don't find any of their stories very compelling. Like they have them, but it's like I just don't really. I don't know. It's the matches are fine, but they're really good at getting the hype for the free agents. All right, huge signing, whoever they bring them in, and then they just drop the ball completely. Like why they thought it was a good idea to sign Sasha and not have her wrestle, which is what got her over in the first place. Like to have her come out and cut promos or be on commentary, which is not her strong suit. Her strong suit is working matches. And I get if she's not currently cleared to work matches until the next pay-per-view, okay, but then don't debut her that soon to have no matches until, like weeks, nothing, is not a good look for any of that. They just drop the ball super, super hard on her. I think the only recent, like, all right, they signed when they signed and brought in Ospreay. They've been doing good with him, but besides that, it's just been they huge news, huge signing, huge free agent, and then who cares? And all right, well, when's the next one? It's like it's not a sustainable business, to me anyway. But the fuck. But yeah, like just haven't given you reason to care about the matches happening, because they had a great roster, just a just absolutely like anywhere in the world would love that to have that amount of talent in one building, and they're just not really capitalizing on that with like good booking or good stories, or it's just kind of like, well, we have a show. As far as GTA 6, I would say they're saying next year. I wouldn't count on it. Like they have a history of delaying things, so I would not count on next year being a thing. Like I would like to believe so, but bro, Rockstar gonna delay and delay and delay. So don't be surprised if it gets delayed. Don't be surprised. Because that's what they've done in their last handful of releases. What's going on, Chile? And I can only hope that they are sufficiently focused on a single-player campaign, because we know how much money that they make from the online. We know how much money that they make from that. It is absurd. But I need single player, because I don't give a shit about the online at all. Yeah, no, there's just names that they have that they just don't use well, or it's all comes down to being a good and competent manager at a certain point. Thoughts on the PS Portal? I don't need one. Like, it's cool, but I don't really have a need for that. Because again, I had the Steam Deck, and that has a thing you can do with the PS5, so it's just kind of the same. I mean, it'd be obviously a bit lighter from the deck, but like, I don't know. I'm not big on playing things over a like video feed connection. Like I need to have it on an actual hardware for me anyway. Um, Thoughts on 205 Live? It was what it was, and I don't think it would have gotten any bigger than it already got. And it was at the time certainly a way to get talent on TV, but I don't know. I have PSVR 2 is here, and I have the original PSVR is not here. I have them both. And I've been holding out because they've said that they're working on getting PSVR 2 working on the PC. Because again, I don't have any PC VR stuff, right? And I haven't bought a Quest or any of that. So it's like, all right, well, I don't want to own a bunch of headsets. So if they're saying that they can get PSVR 2 working on the PC natively, yes, all right, just give me a dongle, make it work. Because then I can get games on Steam and do that on, and it has the inside out tracking and that whole thing. So in theory, if they get that working, that'd be great. But they've said they're working on it, and I would hope this year. But I don't want to spend another couple hundred on another headset just to play more games on the PC. So it's not really like I don't play it that much. So it's not really like I like VR. I don't love VR, but I like VR. So it's like I don't know. It's there are things I can put that budget towards than another freaking headset that I'm gonna play once in a while. Yeah, as far as the other My Rise, I'm gonna say yes, but not this week. Not this week. Thoughts on AW and Jungle Boy? They could have done that like way sooner, but again, that's just they could have capitalized on that like a lot better than they did, and they didn't need to air the footage. That's just dumb. Just because it does a lot of things where it breaks kayfabe and in ways I don't like. And then all right, now it's gonna be kayfabe. It's like, bro, you already fucking ruined it. Like, you already just kind of like just screwed it up. To be honest. I have not watched a full episode of Raw in a while. I'm up to date on what's happening, but I haven't sat down and watched a full 3 hours in some time. It's just a lot of effort to put in to a show that's been, again, when it goes to Netflix, make it 2 hours. Like, please, like, for the love of God, let it be over. That's gonna be weird. Do I have a favorite Resident Evil? I would still say the first remake on the GameCube is really, really good. But it's hard to say because there are just a lot of good ones. I mean, there are also a lot of bad ones, but and I have not played 4 in VR yet. I haven't played 4 in VR yet, and I do want to get. I haven't bought the DLC yet either. The Separate Ways is still like on the wish list, but as far as Xbox back here, that's a copy of Dragon's Dogma 2 and Elden Ring, which I need to get back into before that DLC hits, which is next month. So gotta get back into Elden Ring before Erdtree is out in about a month and a half here. On the list of things to do. It's a lot. Mount Rushmore of professional wrestling is always a fun question, but like I feel like for a lot of folks, it really depends on when you started watching wrestling. Like it depends on when you started, like actually getting invested in the business. So there are guys that are not on that mountain that if it's before when you started watching, like way before, And it's like, well, but because again, you see people who are like, all right, it's got to be Brett, it's got to be Sean, it's got to be Hogan and Austin and Taker and this and that, and it's like you can't. I feel like you can't have a Mount Rushmore without Bruno. If you're champion for 7 years, and that's not on anyone's Mount Rushmore, like, I don't know. So, like, it's easy to say, all right, well, would it be Bruno and Austin and Hogan and Cena? Like, those four did more for just putting butts in seats in the business in history. Like, and be like, what about, like, and you kind of got to look at the different like time gaps there, right? It's like, well, you can say, what about The Rock? I'm like, well, the Rock and Austin, look at money made, look at, like, you know, business impact. Austin above Rock by, like, and granted, all right, Rock now, huge star, but we're talking like wrestling business, like not transcendent, not movies, just wrestling business. Austin was Austin. So, and obviously Hogan is Hogan, and for 15 years we had Cena on top, you know. And granted, when you look at Cena, like, way less than Austin or Hogan, but still for a long time that was the guy. And if I'm thinking of Mount Rushmore, I'm thinking, all right, who were the guy of these different year gaps? And it'd be Bruno, Hogan, Austin, Cena. So that's for me. I don't know. And you can change it, you know, because, like, is your Mount Rushmore based on what? Is it match quality? Because at that point you got to have Sean and Brett, right? Like, is it just overall? For me, it's just, all right, business. Who put the most butts in seats? Who was the standard bearer of that era, of his own era? And those four guys are kind of up there. So I don't know. As far as the King and Queen of the Ring, I would say King Gunther for me is a lock. But as far as the Queen, I do not know. Do not know. Haven't thought that hard about it, honestly. But I think after losing the IC title, we need some other major accomplishment for Gunther to keep him in that conversation to eventually fight Cody. I would assume, but, you know, not until we have, you know, brand warfare of some kind, because obviously they're on different brands. But I don't know. It's it'll be interesting. Like, that at some point down the road is your money match. But when you get there is a different question. Like, I know folks are gonna say, well, Money in the Bank for Gunther, and it's like, yeah, but I just don't see him being in that kind of a match. Like, that just, to me, the crazy ass Money in the Bank match does not really suit his character. But that's just me. If he believes that the mat is sacred, that's a one-on-one. The mat is sacred, not, all right, ladders and chairs and tables, that kind of shit. You know, this, to me, doesn't like fit his character. But the fuck do I know? Anyhow, it is time for me to eat dinner now, so I'm gonna just close things out. Thanks for hanging out. It's been fun. As far as videos, yeah, we got Pixels on Saturday, or, well, yeah, yesterday, which was Crab, and we got Sandland next Saturday. And between now and then, as far as videos, man, I need a break. So I'm gonna take a little break here, and then we get back with more stuff with the boys here and there. I'm planning on getting filmed and all that good stuff, and then I'll be around. Like, I'm not going nowhere, but for right now, I just need a little bit of rest to kind of reassess my situation in terms of video content. So I ain't done yet, not by a long shot. But for right now, I got to eat, I got to work out, got to build some muscle here, and get some things done. So I'll see y'all later here on the channel. I'm attackslug. Peace.